Another power-up attempt with the little Sentinel radio. Alright, what we have here, and let me just say it's 7:31 now in the evening. Kylie has gone home. I have the, let me show you what I got. That's the 50 C5 right there, hooked up. Just the two filament wires are hooked up over to the place where the filament would be going to on the 50 B5. And so those are in place. It is hooked up to the dim bulb, and it is in the dim position. Anybody that doesn't think it is. So we're gonna turn it on, and I have it jumpered across the power switch in an effort to see what it's gonna do. I have my signal tracer up and running, and so that's you may hear it humming in the background, but alright, now that should give us some kind of noise coming out if the radio is working at all, which you don't know for sure. Trying to keep all this wiring straight in my head. I don't have the antenna hooked up. I can do that later if we get some kind of noise out of it, and we'll go from there. So if we get any noise, we'll see what happens. And volume is up a little bit, not down all the way. Kilowatt either. So I've got something wrong. Okay, I know exactly what it is. I don't have it plugged in. You gotta plug it in if you want to use it. Alright, gonna plug that in. There, now, should make a little difference. Oh yeah. It is drawing current. We're at 50 milliamps already. $80, $90, there's 100 milliamps. And we're getting something on the only getting 39 volts at the radio, 40 volts at the radio. Seems to be working. Just kind of keeping an eye on everything. Up around 70 volts now. We're at 56 on the alright, there is 120 milliamps. We're at 80 volts. See if we can see any kind of indication at all on the filaments. I don't see anything, but we know it's working. We're at 65 volts now on the radio. We'll let it sit there a minute or two, just because we can, and we'll turn it up a little bit. Yep, nothing there. Alright, let's go up a little bit more. Back up to 120 milliamps. We're at 90 volts. We're going to getting close, 130 milliamps. 75 volts on the radio. 90 volts on the, or 95 volts on the, what do you call it? So, let's see what we see now. Still nothing. But I think they're lighting up. See if we can get any noise out of it now. I got this down. Well, there's something there. Alright, I'm going to leave it sit there a second. I'm going to hook up the antenna. Alright. And we're only drawing 75 or having 75 volts on the radio. I think I see a little bit of a glow on the bulb. Yeah, it's warm. We're gonna go up at 100 volts. See if we can get it up to 80 on the radio. 140 milliamps. All right, there. That should be sufficient to get something. I see a glow on the light bulb. Alright, well, let's see. It's at least working. I'm pretty darn sure that's radio noises I'm hearing. I don't have 140 milliamps on the radio draw on the AC. Of course, that's going through the dim bulb. I think what we're going to do is try, it's obviously not shorted, so I think what we're going to do is try it without the dim bulb. We'll bypass that. And I want to turn it down first, so turn it down to around there, and then we'll bypass that bulb. And we should be at the same level we are. We'll go back up to where it was before, and then we'll go up a little higher. Now we're up to 160 milliamps. 102 volts, that should be plenty to get the radio going. Alright, well, I don't think we're getting any kind of reception with it. Doesn't act like it anyway. Wonder what happens if I put a what do you call it on it? Well, we got it from the frequency generator. So that part's working. I don't know what frequency they're on because the frequency counter is not connected. So, alright, well, we can see the radio does work anyway. That's a good sign, at least, that it does work. So, as to why it's not picking up anything, I don't know. That helped a little bit. Alright, well, anyway, I think that's enough of that. We can see that it does work. So I think that's a good sign that, let me turn this off. Turn this all the way down. Turn that off. Turn the signal tracer off. Like I started to say, that's a good indication that the radio does at least work. We did hear the frequency generator tone come through, and so it means it is receiving a signal. I did have to pump it up a little bit to get it there, but still, you know, it's just a sign to me anyway that it will work. It just needs some work on the maybe on this bad job they did. And we know the volume control was a little bit dirty, and the on-off switch is dirty. We know the tube is bad. I do have that tube ordered. I don't know if I mentioned that or not, but I do have a 50B5 on the way. So that's that. What else to say? I wasn't really surprised that this worked, because, you know, it's really all we're doing is substituting the filament of a 50C5. Now, the 50C5 and 50B5 are basically identical when it comes to filament. I mean, they're both 50 volt tubes. So that's all we did, was substitute that in for the filament to make the rest of the radio work, and we have seen now that it does work, and that is the problem with that part of it. Now, as far as the switch is concerned, I had to jumper that, and of course we don't have any output from the speaker, because the 50C5 is we're just using the filament of it. We're not using the rest of the tube. So once that B5 comes in, I'll be able to put that in there, and we'll take another test of it. But like I say, in the meantime, while this vinegar is doing its thing, we'll take and clean up some of this mess. You guys recall the mess. I kind of had to laugh at some of the comments that got on it. That's so, you know, is what it is. I mean, people, this here needs to come out, and that's where these need to go, over here. Get them in right. Any of the other bad solder and long leads like this needs to be cleaned up, and so that will be done. I think there's some of them down here. There's one right there. So anyway, like I said, it's got some things that need to be done to it, obviously, and little by little we can get that done, and do a little bit here, a little bit there. And I think what I'm going to do on this Hitachi tomorrow, I don't know if I showed this or not. Let me pull that out real quick and look at it. Like I said, that's it's working. I want to take and use the brush on it, clean all the loose stuff off, and then put it back in there. I think I'll do that before I go to bed, probably. But you can see it is looking much better. So I'm happy about that. That's the good end, obviously, but I'm sure the other end's working too. You know, I put those springs in there. I'm not going to reuse them, but I just want to put them in there and see what it would do to them. So I'll leave that out. Like I said, I'm going to try and brush that off with the brush, and before I cut off for the night. It is 7:53 in the evening now, and I'm going to sign off. You guys have a wonderful, wonderful evening. I think I had a pretty good day. You guys see Gary has his stereo going. Happy about that. Very happy. And so you guys have a wonderful evening. Thanks for watching, and we will see you.